Alright guys, this is going to be a step-by-step video of how to replace a wear ring. See, this is a really badly damaged pump. And I'm going to see if we can bring this one back here. Hey guys, what I'm doing here is I'm cleaning the pump. I'm trying to get all the sand and debris out of it. Even the water inlet lines on this SeaDoo are just filled with sand. The customer is in the habit of beaching the SeaDoo overnight, which is the reason why this pump got so damaged in the first place, you know, sucking the rocks through and just absolutely shearing this wear ring off. But make sure that the pump is clean before you start tearing into it. You don't want any of this debris getting inside the housing of the pump. Looking down inside the pump, we could see how the wear ring is completely sheared off and is actually jammed into the vanes of the pump. First step is to remove the 8mm bolts that hold the thrust cone to the pump. This is why we clean the pump, because when we take this off, we don't want any debris falling inside the pump where the bearings are. Also notice that the thrust cone is slightly deformed where the bolts go through. That's just because they've been over torqued. These do not need to be very tight. I think the actual measurement is 10 foot-pounds or something like that, so just be careful not to over torque them. We've got the pump outside in the hot sun, and we're going to put the wear ring in the freezer just so the two parts will fit a lot easier when it's time to install the wear ring. It's now time to take the impeller out of the pump, and for this part of the job I'm using an impeller removal tool. This one I actually got from the SeaDoo dealership. Extremely expensive. It was $180 for this tiny little part. I don't recommend you guys do the same. You can get just as good as a tool from somewhere else for like half or even a quarter of the price. Just got to look around. Anyways, I'm having kind of a difficult time here just because the the wear ring is actually just jammed in with the impeller, so it's giving me some problems, but they're usually on there pretty tight. So I'm using a breaker bar and holding the other side of the pump with my foot with a crescent wrench. Also, you should have a vise for this. I don't actually have the proper tools to do this. If you have a good vise attached to a bench solidly, this whole process is a lot easier. Right, here's what's left of the wear ring. It's all jammed in the impeller. Really did some good damage. Impeller will need to be dressed up there. Hopefully we can save that. I have to replace this seal. Let's see. I'm gonna put this in the sink again and clean it up, I think. Alright, at this point you can remove the impeller shaft. And inspect it. The thrust bearing will come out, usually come out with it. If not, it'll be just in this region. Just checking the shaft for wear. We'll clean it up, check it for wear, and see what kind of condition it's in. Okay, here's a good look at the thrust bearing right here. It actually looks okay. No damage. And here is the thrust bearing washer. Feels okay. It feels nice and smooth. And here's the impeller shaft. And this definitely has some wear. However, we're not going to be pressing out bearings on this pump. There's just not the budget for that. So this looks worse than it actually is. Running my nail over that, and it's good and straight. So I think this I think these parts can be reused. So yeah, we're gonna reuse those and just clean them up there. Be cheaper. So here are the needle bearings here. These look okay as well. They feel good. Just put my pinky finger in there and just check both sides there. Everything feels good. And the oil in this pump was not changed out every season. It doesn't look like it. Okay, I'm going to actually start removing the wear ring now. So I'm going to put the thrust washer and thrust bearing back in. Put the nose cone back on because we're going to be making a little bit of mess. Using the Dremel to cut the wear ring out, so I don't want to get any debris inside the pump housing. So put this all back together. We'll get the Dremel out and we'll start cutting that wear ring. So now we got the pump housing all sealed up, so we can cut the wear ring out without the worry of getting any debris inside the pump housing. Okay, now we're ready to try and cut the wear ring out. I'm going to use a Dremel tool, just cut down. It's not an exact science. Just wanted to cut out a little slot here, and so that it. Sometimes you can use a chisel too, but anyways, let's get into that right now. So when you're cutting out this wear ring, you just got to be really careful that you don't go through the wear ring and then into the pump housing as well. Like, you don't want to be cutting the pump. So just be mindful of the depth of your cuts, and everything should be fine. I actually just kind of get it started with the Dremel, and then I use a chisel. So the chisel has a flat edge, so you can sort of cut at the wear ring with guiding the chisel along the pump body, just so you make sure that you don't cut into the actual pump itself. So for this, everybody has their own way of doing this part, and no way is right or wrong, just as long as it works for you and it doesn't damage the pump housing in the process. And yeah, if you have a better way of doing this, please share in the comments. I'd like to know. I haven't figured it out yet, but this is the way I've been doing it. Takes a while. Just take my time while doing this, and yeah. So yeah, this is how I do it. There she is. Pain in the butt to get out, but she's out. I just like to take my time because a pump like this one over here, these older ones, are, I'm not sure what kind of metal they are, but you have to be a little bit more careful with the plastic pumps because if you're cutting with the Dremel, you just don't want to cut into the actual pump there. So anyways, now we got this out. Let's clean up the pump and get the new wear ring in. Okay guys, I'm just going to run a wire brush on the drill attachment just along the surface of where the wear ring meets the pump, just to kind of clean it up a little bit there. Alrighty, it's got a nice clean surface in here to accept the wear ring. Everything's nice and clean in here now. I just take a little file actually quickly and clean up these veins. Just kind of clean them up a little bit. There's some burrs on them. Take down this high spot here. It's a lot better. This one needs a bit more. All right, now we got to the part where we're actually gonna put in the new wear ring, which has been sitting in the freezer all morning. Should hopefully, fingers crossed, go right in. This is cold and the pump is hot, so see if this drops right in. Oh, look at that. That went right in. Perfect. So it's a good hot summer day, so that's been in the freezer, slid right in, no problem. So just tap her down. Okay, now we got the wear ring installed. Let's pay some attention to this impeller here. Pretty bad condition here, so we're going to do what we can and clean clean the blades up with a file, and then we'll wire brush them. And there is one blade here that is bent, which is this guy right here. So it's got a nick on the bottom here, so we'll bend this part of the blade back down. The rest of the blades seem pretty good. That one's okay, and this one's okay. It's not really bent. It's just the one that's bent on just at the tip here. We'll bend that back down and clean it up. So put this on the outside here, and let's get to dressing this up. A little clean up there with the wire brush. So this impeller is about as good as it's going to get right now. It's an expensive part, so there was that one blade at the bottom that was bent right here. So we'll bend this one back down. This guy here, I've already bent it a little bit. Just take the end of the wrench here, put it on there, and bend her back down, just like that. There we go. Looks good now. That's good, maybe a bit more. There we go. Perfect. That one's good. That one might come down just a little bit. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Still a bit high here. It's good. Just putting the shaft here into the vise. This is the fun part. Okay, so the impeller's back in. Not entirely sure that this is going to work for this machine. Seems to be pretty tight up front here, the leading edges of the blades. In fact, it's kind of binding a little bit, but a lot of daylight coming through this part here, so the impeller needs to be really tight. So I'm not really sure what's going on here. There's only one way to find out if this is going to work, and that's by putting it in the ski, but usually you want no more than the thickness of a piece of paper between the impeller and the wear ring. So I don't know. We'll see if this works. I'll be I'd be surprised if this works actually. That's too much clearance as far as I'm concerned. It's too much. This pump over here. Yeah, see, on this pump is way, way tighter. Okay guys, last step in this process is of course to fill your pump with oil. I don't think it's going to work, but stay tuned to the channel if you want to find out, because I'll be putting this pump back in the ski this week. Fill up our jet pump with jet pump synthetic oil and fill this up. It's got to work its way through the little oil galleys in there, so we'll leave it sit for a few minutes here. Alright, we've let that sit for a while, and I can actually look inside here and see. I've been moving the impeller around just to work the oil through, and I can see she's all full. So, all right, so I think we're good to put this plug back in here. Oil's been had its opportunity to move around. Thanks for tuning in to You Ottawa Scotty, and stick around to the channel if you want to see how well this pump actually works. I'm not sure how well she's going to work. Should be tighter than that. Anyways, stick around. We'll see you soon.